Good evening everyone and welcome along to FRL. We are here tonight for FRL F1. It is season 17, it's round 5 of the championship as we take in the British Grand Prix from the Silverstone International Circuit. And yes indeed, we are home at the home of British Motorsport and indeed the start of Formula 1. My name is James Head, I'm going to be taking to the stream of course as always on this fine Tuesday evening. CPI Ivor, the lucky so-and-so, is on holiday so he's not going to be alongside me in the commentary box tonight. But unfortunately this prize is ruined because there's only 14 drivers in the lobby. Joining me in the commentary box tonight, it is Mr. Michael F1. Michael, how you doing? Well, I think he's here. I can hear him sleeping in the background. I know he is here because I've just been speaking to him. Hello, how you doing? I don't know, what are you doing here? You've just landed yourself into the cold control for FRL F1. But yeah, it is going to be, I've got to say, a fantastic evening. We are waiting, I think, for 3 or 4 drivers to join into the lobby, which gives us the perfect amount of time, I think, to run through the championship standings as we wait. And as Michael wakes up there in the background, he is awake. Trust me, he is just having me on, I think, and having you guys on in the stream. Name changer, though, leading the way on 81 points, of course, with that third place finish last time out from him. Matcher there in second on 76. He won last time out, of course, with the sprint, of course, being in France. Keki there in third on 51 points. He finished second, of course, last week. Charlie in fourth on 39, so he's now in fourth ahead of Papine. Papine there in fifth on 36, and Xavier in sixth on 30. Bunty in 7th on 27, Liam in 8th on 20, Ruti, who was back tonight, in 9th on 15, and then Watermelon in 10th on 14 points. So looking through the standings so far, Michael, of course you've been more for F2 than you have been for F1 this season. Name changer out on top, he's only 5 points clear of Macho, could come down to the real wire I think in the final couple laps here tonight in Britain. It is indeed. I'll just hop foot over to the blue screen slightly. I've got to give invites out because there's only 14 people here. I'm concerned. We're due 17 people. Hopefully people can join. We are waiting on FBR Stefano, who is the PSGL F1 man, of course. We are waiting on NLR Keki, and also we are waiting on Cobra Bolo. It's not an FRL night without going late, is it, really? Let's be honest. It never is. You set up... Yeah, you set up the lobby, and I mean, you set up the lobby, what, 15 minutes in advance, and even with issues that we've had with the streaming then, which we're all good now, but obviously with that end, we had to literally try and delay the start of the stream, I think, for that, but we are, I'm just inviting in the third guy now, to Cobra, that we are waiting on, so apologies if you cannot hear Michael's lovely voice at this moment in time. I'll give them 5 minutes. If they're not here in 5 minutes, we'll just go without them, and we are not going to restart for anyone who might forget a setup, unlike last week, which we have finally found out who it was. It was Keki, of course, last week, but the invites are out. Those 3 guys have now been invited once again, so hopefully we can get underway very soon indeed. Where were we though with this championship standings? Let's have a look in terms of the constructor standings as well. Now I've had to obviously see that message, give out the invites, and then we're back into the constructor standings as well, which is just loading up on my screen as I speak to you right now, so bear with me. Alfa Romeo lead the way on 111 points, Mercedes there in second on 93, Ferrari in third on 92, a huge gap though to AlphaTauri in fourth on 40, Aston Martin in fifth on 39, then another big jump down to Alpine in sixth on 15, McLaren in seventh on 14, Williams in eighth on 10, and then Red Bull and Haas are tied still on points, with Red Bull picking up 7 points of course last week as a result of their finishing order. Haas, they're tied, of course, for 9th and 10th on 9 points coming in tonight in terms of the Constructors. And the Constructors really has been a story of really 3 drivers. Alfa Romeo with NLR name changes. They were, of course, backing them up in Alfa Romeo. Mercedes, CPI Bunty. Of course, we did have, I believe, in the Mercedes, quite a few drivers, actually, for the Mercedes team. Bunty, though, is here. He's been doing very well this season. And, of course, Ferrari. Macho has been outperforming Pelli by an absolute country mile. And he has been relied on, of course, for the Ferrari team. So, with that being said, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari, the top 3 constructors, they're there just because of one driver, I think. Yeah, definitely. So I'm just giving a little bit of communication, by the way. Oh, apparently we can't hear you on stream either. Just had Bunty message that in the F1 channel when I was just looking at what I was typing there. But yeah, we're gonna wait until Bolo joins. Obviously Stefano's not gonna turn up, and I don't think Keki is gonna turn up either. There is Bolo, who's literally just joined the lobby, so we'll go in 2 minutes. We'll give Stefano and Keki one final chance. I know both of them, I believe, have been part of the F1 Esports Challenges, so they might necessarily be doing that. I know Keki might be first reserve for tomorrow night, and they are probably watching for F1 Esports Challenges as well. But hopefully we will be able to hear you now on stream, Mr. Michael F1.
Well, hello, I'm here. If you can hear me right now, just a second. The first 5 seconds was a waste of time if the people that couldn't hear me, and I feel quite ashamed right now. But hello, this is Michael F1, normally for FT commentating, alongside the great James Head for a change, because Ivo is on holiday still, so hopefully I'm filling his boots nice and tidy. But yeah, here we go, back at home for F1, and we've got 10 seconds till the session starts.
We have got 10 seconds until the session starts indeed. Only 15 drivers here. Does open things a little bit up with Stefano and Keki, of course, not being here. They do have invites, so if they do want to join in qualifying, they can do. They will be, of course, at the back of the field when they do join. But we, of course, are going into the historic circuit of the Silverstone International Circuit. Of course, I believe it's 5.8 kilometres, then 3.6 mile and 18 turns waiting the drivers out on track. And I'm just doing this from knowledge of having a track map right in front of me normally. Don't this night, so if I'm wrong with that, then I apologise, but I believe it's 5.8 kilometres and then 3.6 mile, 18 turns away now, drivers of course out on track as well, and we look forward to seeing the drivers out on track very soon indeed as we now get going in towards qualifying at what can only be described, Michael, as a very overcast qualifying session. It is typical British weather so far.
Yeah, pretty much like real life at this stage as well, so very good timing on that. Very overcast compared to last night, which is all sunny throughout, so it looks like we might have just a clean qualifying throughout, but we have to wait and see. We'd like a little bit of drama in the commentary box, but in the race we have to wait and see. Hopefully no one can spoil it for us, because we like a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah, we do indeed. We do indeed. We are waiting on the drivers just to leave. I can see a bit of movement there in the Ferrari garage, I believe from CPI Chippy's garage, if I'm not mistaken. I was right, by the way, in terms of the kilometres length. 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 mile. Bolo saying as well there in the F1 channel on Discord, he is saying a great mix of commentators, which is very, very nice, and that is the sort of feedback that we like to receive, of course, here in the commentary box for FRL F1. You do, I am glad to say as well, if you didn't, if you missed me last week, and because I said this last week, I'm back for the rest of the season, so you have got me right until the end of the season, right until the end of the game cycle as well, and FRL F1 2022 in Saudi Arabia, I think, which is the final round, is going to be my final commentary on the F1 game, and I'm not giving anything away as to why that might be, but there might be a certain new F1 game coming out the day of the final race.
Yeah, we have to hope and pray there won't be any delays, and I think for many people, hopefully, it'll be a totally different game. Me personally, I don't think there will be too many changes, especially it doesn't look at any changes in real life. But I think we're just looking forward to getting a new challenge because this game has been very in the low part of the F1 community so far, in my opinion. But everyone's coping very well, and this league is still running because of these drivers. So well done to them, and obviously to the owners as well, and obviously you as well, commentating as always at the top of this game. As we see, Zero will be the first person to cross the line to start a flying lap. In this again misty afternoon. Hopefully the rain will keep an eye out of the way of the circuit. Coming across the start finish straight now. Hopefully the tyres up all up to temperature, and away he goes. Let's get the board up, get the settings up. There you go. Battery's on, full power. There you go. Is he full throttle through it? Yes, he is. And yellow flag in the third sector.
Yeah, drivers
People
slowing down.
Yep. And nice apex from Zoe there on the first DRS straight. Nice and calm. Pretty much be a banker lap, I believe, because the track will be very cold. So there won't be any grip digging into the track just yet. Obviously sets the fastest sector for now, obviously, because he's the first one around that. Going through the old pit straight. I can't remember what corner this is, but it's the old pit straight, if people don't know that by now. And I'll come up to the corner where Hamilton and Verstappen collided. Thankfully, Verstappen actually made it out alive, surprisingly. And a little bit of lift up by the looks of it, but it should be a fast left, fast right lift off there, surprisingly. A little bit of a break in on the exits of Beckett's downshift, and away he goes. As we had a little bit of a twitch there, a bit of connection issues, but it's all fine. Coming up towards Stowe. Very steady throttle up to 6th. Heading towards the final 2 corners now. Go a quick left and a quick right. Slowly bring up the power. It can easily catch you out at the back end, but he keeps it there, very steady at 27.6. I don't think I've talked so much in my life in the F1 commentary box.
Macho, by the way, just absolutely obliterates that lap time. 7/10 quicker than Zero. I was going to say about Zero's lap, it looked a little bit hesitant. That is hesitancy taken to a new level, I think, around here. Macho out on top, Zero there in second, Rudy there in third. You did a fabulous job, by the way, in commentating on that lap. A name change, by the way, in the middle sector, 103 flats. He's about a 10th off on Macho in that middle sector. He's now on the run down in towards Stowe at turn 15, and then, of course, in towards Vale and Club, famously where Vettel and Verstappen famously made contact, Ferrari and Red Bull, in 2019 down into this corner. Coming through Vale and Club corner being the final corner, a name changer. Gets too much on the inside curb, too greedy on that inside curb, spins the car around. 27.4, I would say take 3-4 tenths off that, and he would have been around the 27 flat, I think, with that lap. Looking quite good. Ruti there, the reserve as well, in second. The NLR man, who has been previously here, of course, in FRL F1. And Mr. Rage as well, already raging with his invalidation, I've got to say, on this lap as he comes out through in towards Vale and Club. But the AlphaTauri, he is going to get another run in. Bobby is coming through the middle sector, 27.6 out the first, through the middle. 103.6, and Bobby was complaining that Stefano was going to be here tonight. No Stefano here, but a 103.6, and it looks like he's lagging as well, which is worse on his perspective. But Bobby there lagging on my end, certainly. He looks a little bit all over the place, and obviously him being an F2 driver last season, stepping up to F1, takes some real guts and determination to try and put it up with the likes of Macho and Ruti as he comes to the line with a 27.7.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you expect when you're competing very hard in the previous season league downwards. It's rarely like the top 3 or probably top 5 drivers will get promoted into a higher league more competitively. So it's no surprise that he is in this league, because obviously he was one of the fastest guys, and it just makes the sport a little bit fairer to other drivers, because you don't want to see the same driver taking the top spot every time, like Verstappen complaining about the rules changes. Because now he's in a quicker car, but yeah, it's just the way of life, and he's just got to live up to it. We all got to do it, and it's just new challenges, new possibilities of getting great results and pushing yourself even more. So he's got to use that for this season.
Yeah, I think as well as Bobby goes on through the season, we saw CPI Chippy, for example. He was F2, a season or two ago, and now he's 4th in a qualifying session, 0.3 of a second off Ruti, and he's actually one of the most changeable, the better changeable drivers, I think, in FRL, and he's really grown into himself as a driver. He's normally good in qualifying, race not so much, but he's there in 4th position. We'll run on board though with NLR Rudy. He is on a lap, on the run down in towards the right-hand return number 1 at Abbey, and then through the left-hand return number 2 at Farm, taking that flat out around 190 mile an hour can actually be carried through there, so I was a bit hesitant from Rudy's, and now comes in towards Village at turn number 3, and then into the loop at turn number 4. Nicely negotiates the loop, takes the thinner line actually coming through there. Now out of Aintree, famously of course on the airfield. Aintree Grand Prix actually used to be held. Jackie Stewart of course was around there for the Grand National on the actual layout of the circuit. If you didn't see that on ITV, go and watch it back on ITVX and ITV, because it was a fascinating watch. Even though it was about horse racing, it was a fascinating watch. What is even more fascinating is that save from Rudy coming out of Luffield. Brilliant save by Rudy, and now he's on the run down in towards the old turn 1, of course Copse Corner. Cobaline and Hamilton, Lady famously made contact in 2008 in the full wet conditions as well, but Rudy all over the place, that proven by an invalidation out of Copse.
Yeah, I think he probably lost 3/10 just by a little half spin alone, so I think he tried to make up some more time he could, and I think he's just still pushing to find the limits of the car at least, so it's not a bad thing that he's doing it.
Yeah, his setup is all over the place. Honestly, if I was in his shoes right now, I'd be coming in, changing the wings, changing as much as you can, even though he's now on a Park Ferme setup. Change as much as possible, because that setup clearly is not working for him.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he can actually get a setup that's more comfortable. I think he's just gone for more straight line speed, because there's not really too many slow corners there, because when you get a fast corner nailed on, you could probably gain like 2/10 out of those corners, which probably be up to maybe more close to a second more likely, especially in Maggots and Beckett's as well. So I think that's what he's trying to do, but it's not paying off for him, so he needs to make a different decision coming towards it, as I think Zero is about to start his second flying lap now.
Yeah, it's the same order pretty much as the first laps we're going in. Zero, Macho, and then I think it's Ruti in behind him out on track. So 7th, 1st and 2nd now setting up on their runs. Zero coming through Abbey at turn number 1, through the left hand of turn number 2, and then through the right hand of course at Village at turn number 3. And we expect the Finn to 27.6. I'm expecting them to go 27.3, 27.2 range, I think, as we get towards the end of this qualifying session. Whether or not that is the case remains to be seen. Name changer just starting up a lap as well, coming in towards turn number 1. He's got a little bit of traffic there coming through turn number 1, but Zero through the first sector, much better. 500 up through the first sector. If he can really negotiate Brooklands coming out through Luffield, he took a 5th gear, and again he dips into 5th gear, a very low to try and minimise the traction coming off the corner. Now through Woodcut through turn number 8, nearly forgot the corner name, now in towards Copse at turn number 9, as Zero comes through the right hand of turn number 9, negotiating that very nicely indeed. He needs to be more committed as name changes left the session. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in. He has got backup invites, so he can get back in if he needs to. Zero there coming through the middle sector though, more committed through there, and that middle sector definitely on par, 2.5 tenths up so far on this lap. Zero now coming towards that 27.3 mark as I'm thinking for this lap as he now comes through. Still a little bit wide of the apex there, and that is why he was wide of the apex. Had completely the wrong angle coming into the corner, as invalidated coming through there. We'll see what his lap would have been. 8 minutes to go in the session. Macho, Ruti and Marco currently in the top 3, and Xavier would have been in 27.4, so he would have actually improved by 2/10 per second. Macho's backed off his lap, Ruti's backed off his lap as well, so they are clearly going, I believe, certainly if I'm Macho, 100% of EOS, he is going for one down run and then going for a fresher lap, and that might be to actually save a set of soft compounder tyres if there's going to be rain in the race.
Yeah, there is more likely. Maybe they do know that, and they are just he's just taking a course on this lap, because it's not easy to get your tyres up to temperature. Even I believe the softs are not that can't give me words up. They're not really very good at getting up to temperature either, especially in this cold mist day. So I think that's why he's doing it. But it looks like he is pushing on this lap, Macho, by looking at his battery going down to 84%. And obviously now the track is now rubbed in, it's more hotter now, and this car should be more grippy as well. So it might be probably a 10th up in this first sector alone. We'll see. Might get slipstream from the Alpines ahead. He's only just faster than his previous best, 100th of a second. and coming from the old pit straight. He might get slipstream here, or a little bit of a upset for the car with the Alpine driver in front. I think that's Rudy, and it is. So hopefully he won't lose too much time. We'll see. A little bit hesitant on the throttle, but he should be okay. But that Alpine needs to get out of the way. Out Maggots and Beckett's. More hesitate on the throttle there, and he's too close to him, and the car's trying to get away with him, and he's just got it on time, and now he's getting slipstream probably from 2 cars, and he's just covered that just in time, and no traffic for the rest of the lap. Thank God for him. Up to Stowe.
Oh, he's spun! He spins! Coming out as Ryan, by the way, went second. Bunty's just gone fourth as well. Papine there in fifth, all improving. But Macho, that didn't look like it was going to be a spin. He was taking that beautifully, and I think he got too greedy. There's a little bump on the outside of the curb, which I think he might have caught just on the actual tarmac of the track. I think he's caught that. And then it spun him round. He's just taken too much throttle too early, spun the car round. Macho there, still in first position, 26.9, currently his best. Ryan there in second, Ruti there in third. Name changer, by the way, has left the session.
Sorry, Bobby's gone. Just dropped over Stowe. Yeah, just caught ball with that. He just did a 360 into the wall, gone to the power, pretty much what Macho did. But he just put too much power into that, so he'll be outside the top 10. Out of qualifying, as Rudy is on a flying lap himself, and now the sun's coming out now, so it's going to be even a little bit more grippy. But yeah, I think Macho did caught in the dirty air of the cars in front of Rudy and himself, so I think he just tried to push a little bit more there to get more time, which he didn't really need to. He still doesn't need to. He's still got pole at the minute, but we'll have to see what Rudy can do. He has not set a lap just yet, down in 12th, and we'll see what he's like in the last sector. He missed the apexes there. I think that's a quite unusual corner that drivers are having struggled difficult on.
Marco's gone for spin, so to cut you off, coming to the right-hander of Stowe again. Stowe is such a low-speed corner. People are being caught out by Stowe. We've seen Bobby spin through there and out of the session, and Marco's nearly got on the wall, coming in the pit lane. My goodness me. If that was a crash coming into the pit lane, then, honestly, I would have been absolutely ruined his luck. There in 6th position, 27.349. Macho had spun through there, Bobby had spun, and now Marco's spun. So Cops is catching people out. Bobby also saying as well, he has no grip in Sector 3, and he gets very nervous on the power coming out of Cops' corner, which is why I think he was nervous on the power, too nervous in fact, and obviously he spun coming through Cops in the wall out of the session.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that. I think because I believe how this game works, when you go uphill, because you go up a little bit, up to Stowe, and then you curve round downwards. So I think that the air you're hitting is affecting the rear wing of the car, which is actually causing it to spin, which is very unsafe with the back end, because obviously the back end of the car on this year is very, very sensitive. So I think that's what is causing these drivers to struggle around there. That's only my guess alone. See yellow flags in the third sector of the Alpine. Believe he's going to come into the pits.
Ran out of fuel.
Dan's up in 7th place for him. We might get another lap in. We'll see what the timer says. We don't know because he's still going slow. But yeah, I'm so really surprised they are struggling at that corner alone, really, as Name Challenger has finally joined in. Hopefully he can get his lap in.
Yeah, and actually rejoined at the perfect time, I think, because there's, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go on the clock. Perfectly timed. He'll get one lap in, one lap only, and that will try and see him towards the top end of the field. I'm expecting him to go around Bunty, Papine, that sort of area, I think, just to watch out for. It's Zero. He did set a 27.4 on his previous personal best, which was an invalidated lap, so Zero now on a lap once again. He's out of sync, though, compared to every single person. That slight flicker of the graphics, by the way, was for Name Changer joining the session. Wish they'd really get rid of that, potentially, for the F1 23 game coming forward. I've heard rumours, certainly, and I've been well informed that Zero goes 27.4 in the first sector. I'm well informed about when the new game is coming out, by the way. I've had some conversations in the background, and the rumours are pretty true, I've got to say, that are out there right now. I know there's a rumour circulating today that they could come out potentially, we get information out on Thursday. I would probably stand by that as well. I think there might be information coming on Thursday. Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating time, and hopefully people do enjoy the new game. I know for a fine fact that Zero was absolutely butchered coming through Maggots and Beckers. He's off this lap, which is why I think we're filling in for time with him being down on his lap. But with the F123 game coming out in just a couple of months' time, literally about 2 months' time it's going to be coming out in, or it's rumoured to be coming out in 2 months' time, that really means that leagues like us, like FRL, does have to get on with the calendar. And the calendar I think that we've got at the minute actually ends on the early release date for when the game is supposedly going to be coming out. So just a thing for Hawk to consider as we run on board with Mr. Rage, who so far is not raging on this lap, now coming through Maggots and Beckett, and then through in towards Chapel, and now down the hangar straight. And a 103.3 in the middle sector is respectful, but it's not really up there with the top guys.
Yeah, I think it's just a quiet one. Obviously, this is his one only banker lap of the session. He might get another lap in, but I don't think the battery's going to take him to that. So this will be his only lap, and see where it puts him. Obviously, he's in 14th for now, out of 15 drivers. And let's see where this puts him now. Probably mid-table. No, it doesn't. It puts him P11. So we probably might as well go back to Zero, because he probably will be the next car going across the line now, trying to save his battery, going through Manx and Beckett's. As you know, already out of the old pit straight. This is his only shot of a very good position. His fuel light is flashing, so hopefully we'll get to the end of this lap. Will he take Manx and Beckett's?
Charlie Spun, I think, coming out of turn number 3. Sorry to cut you off there, coming through Village and the loop at turn number 4. So I think that is Charlie that was round. I know he was just starting up on a lap. And Charlie, indeed, is actually furthest on. So it's not. It's an Fantarry that has spun. And in fact, it's actually Mr. Rage getting out of the way. So I'm completely wrong. Sorry, Charlie. I will back you up with that. Zaymo was 2 tenths up in the middle sector, though.
Yep, Zero's gone purple in the middle sector. So he's fast overall. Don't know if it is a glitch, because it can still happen on this game, believe it or not, but we'll see. If it puts him up there in the top 5, it probably should... No, to P10. Well, only a tenth between a few drivers there, so it's really good consistency, like last night, so really well done. Who's next going across the line?
Ruti's next, because the Ferrari, I think the Pelli's just spun. Macho, by the way, is on a lap coming to the middle sector at Cops, but Ruti is on an absolute flyer here. He is 2 tenths up nearly in the middle sector. Ferrari getting out of the way is Pelli to the left-hand side as he now comes through Valen Club. This looks very, very good from Ruti. I think he'll put on provisional pole on the run toward the line, the fin, and he does, oh my word, 26.6. Where did he find that final sector from? Absolutely obliterating the time. Macho was finding time, though. Not as good as Ruti in the middle sector, but if he finds 2 tenths of a second, he'll be on pole position. This is now absolute game time for Macho. He really needs to find something. Through Stowe, in towards Vale and Club, hard on the brakes in towards Vale, now in towards Club corner at the final corner at turn 18, before embarking on the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. Macho, does he do enough? No, he falls short by a good margin in the end. Bunty goes third. Big qualifying session from him. Ryan spun earlier on in the session, and that's why he's down on his lap. He's back in the pit lane as well. He was the other man to watch out for in that qualifying session. But Ruti in the end, out on top, absolutely blistering. Championship leader Macho, or second in the championship, Macho there in second, has qualified ahead of the championship leader, name changer. 5 points, of course, separating coming into tonight. But Ruti there out on top, Macho there in second, Bunty there in third. A fabulous qualifying session from him. He does love Britain. Britain loves him back. Ryan there in fourth, Markle there in fifth, Chippy there in sixth, with Rudy there in seventh, Papine there in eighth, Name Changer in ninth. The whole host of the NLR boys starting together, which is good to see. And only actually 7,000 of a second separating ninth to 11th, with Name Changer in ninth, Zero in 10th, Pelly there in 11th, Mr. Rage there in 12th, Bobby after that clash in 13th. I think he would have improved on his final run if he did. Bolo and Charlie, the 2 Aston Martins, further down the field, and Posh Boy there is right at the back of the field. But Ruti out on top, Macho in second, Bunty there in third, 0.2 of a second covering the top 3, but in the end Ruti in a different league.
Yeah, what a stonking lap, where it all matters at the end when the track's at its best. What a fantastic lap from the Williams driver. I think he had a quiet qualifying as well. Hardly really seen him until that last few minutes there, so great performance from him. As, yeah, the 2 Aston Martins didn't really have a good qualifying. Charlie went for the one run and it didn't pay off for him. So he's got a lot of work to do at the back. So is Bobby as well, and probably a few other drivers as well, because of losing time over past Stowe. But yeah, there's got to be a lot of fighting going on. I think Macho is going to try and get his first place back because he probably feels like he earns that. Well, to probably prove a point in the championship anyway. But it looks like a very classy race once again. But hopefully, probably. Sorry, I'm just confused of what the pit crew are doing in the pit lane. It's just caught my eye. It's just caught my eye what's happening. But yeah, hopefully the race will be very interesting, like last night. And by the way, if anyone has watched last night's race and you looked at how the tyres were going into those races, hopefully you will take that into mind because tyres are pretty brutal around here.
Yeah, tyres are indeed pretty brutal around here. So brutal, in fact, that everyone's starting on the same compound of tyre, on a set of hard compound of tyre, which I think, is that Ruti's actually spun through turn number 1, but this is actually a trick that I've seen done in WR in PSGL. These guys actually spin their tyres on purpose, and that is to get heat into them. That is why they spin. And if you see other drivers doing it as well, it's to try and get heat into the tyres. Now, I don't think there's any rule in the FRL rules and regulations for this to happen. It's a little bit of a loophole, I think, in the rules. But I've seen it done in LOE. I've seen it done in WR as well, where drivers are spinning on their formation lap. It's just to get heat into the tyres. And on a set of hard compounded tyres, I can see why they're doing it, because they're the coldest of the 3 compounded tyres. It's overcast still out on track, so they need as much heat in the tyres as possible.
Yeah, that's really true, because I think if you... Oh, there's a
there we go, there's another one.
Yeah, just, as we see him spin. Yeah, it could be on purpose, but I'm not sure to do it really very early on. I'll probably do it at the end of the lap, because obviously that's when it's at its hottest, and obviously that's where the grip is as well. But yeah, I think when people pit for the hards, in general speaking, if you're starting on the mediums, it takes about probably 4 or 5 laps just to get the hards just a normal race temperature. So it is very, very smart thinking of these guys doing it. And yeah, if it doesn't say that in the FRL rulebook, you can do it.
Yeah, and it's that loophole that I think needs to be plugged if that is the case. I mean, we're in Monaco next week, so I don't think people will be doing it around Monaco, to be honest. Let's just face it, next week. But Ruti, again, either he's making mistakes and this is legitimate, or, as I say, he is probably spinning the tyres up just to try and get a little bit of rubber down, get some heat into the tyres as well. And his tyres want to be at around 100 degrees. If they're 100 degrees, they're perfect. If they're back, some of the cold compounded tyres, for example, if they're back at 70, 75 degrees, they are going to be absolutely cold as anything coming off the line. And that will mean drivers do get caught off the line indeed. But I'll come across to you, Michael, because we are now getting, as Charlie spins, I think, at the back end of the field, as predictable. But we do get going very soon indeed. Who's your top 3?
I'll probably go for Bunty for the win, actually, and Chippy third, and Macho third.
Macho third, interesting. 5 red lights tonight coming out here at Silverstone for round number 5 of the championship as Chippy gets a drive-through penalty. And it is lights out and away we go. Marco gets a drive-through penalty as well. He's actually splitting the pair of the Williamses and the Ferraris. Ruti's had a very slow start. Macho's had a slow start as well. And there's contact through turn number 1. And that is Bunty sent round actually in the Alpine. Has to take avoiding action. That's Rudy. And this honestly looks absolutely desync as anything. I'm not sure if there is a bit of desync going on in the lobby, but it's absolutely Noah's Ark. 2 by 2 they go. Now coming through Aintree at turn number 5 onto the onto the Wellington stripe. But Chippy leads Marco in second. He can ignore them. There's cars inside of each other, which I don't get. There's 4 wide almost in towards Brooklands. One of the maddest openings to the British Grand Prix I've ever seen, as Ryan tries to look to the inside line coming through Brooklands. Papine is right there as well. Name changes up into 6th all of a sudden. He's nearly been forced up by Rudy. Ferrari's all over the place. The Alpine of, the AlphaTauri, sorry, of Papine having a huge moment in the background and nearly spinning. My word, what a start. Chippy leads the way. Marco in second. Macho there in third. Bobby there as well, coming through Cop's corner as well. What on earth is going on here at Silverstone? I'm not sure if it's desync. If it is, we'll restart. But if it's not, that's one of the craziest openings I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is absolutely bonkers. I didn't really expect that from these F1 drivers. It was like 3 abreast into turn 1, and that started it all. And Bunty's got damage in the back. He's going to have to pit. And so does Chippy of their drive-throughs.
Zero spun as well.
Probably up Stowe as well, so his tyres are not up to temperature. What a crazy start to this race, as Macho, surprisingly, leads the way at the first lap. And also, he was part of that 3 abreast train there in turn 1, so luckily these two drivers have not had any damage. But unfortunately, Bunty, who still carries on, despite having that front wing damage, I believe. I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah,
Looks like he doesn't, but he did. He doesn't. He doesn't. He hasn't got damage, but I'm pretty sure he had a big fair knock.
Yeah, I think he has, and I think, to be honest, his tyres are quite cold, which is why he's just getting them back up to temperature. He's within Mr. Rage, he's within Charlie range as well, who's behind him, and doing a phenomenal job. So Bunty there will close up, the pack will close up as well. Judging by the racing around here, it'll just be a big old DRS train, I think, from this point onwards. Let's have a look, though, if we don't need to, at the position gates. Bolo's up 9 positions, for goodness sake. Name changes up 5, Rudy's up 4, Pelly's up 4, Mr. Rage up 4, Charlie's up 4 as well, if I didn't mention that. Macho's up 1, most positions lost, Chippy and Marco, both having drive-through penalties, both jumping the lights, it seems, and I'm sure that will get investigated by the stewards. The whole start procedure will get investigated by the stewards. I haven't been told, I don't believe, to restart. That was just a tag from another league as Ryan comes to the inside line and Bolo goes down the inside line in towards Stowe at 10:15, tries to get the job done, but Bolo, to be fair, the Aston Martin, the Red Bull gives him room. Aston Martin's there on the inside line, he goes very much deep on the brakes in towards Vale and Club. Ferrari, the Red Bull right there, nearly goes Pelly through as well, and through goes Pelly, and he's actually spun, coming through the right hand and lost his front wing. That might be a VSC or a safety car, avoiding action taken, I think, by Charlie there as well, but no front wing for Pelly. He is spun just by himself, coming through the right-hander of Club Corner at turn 18. Front wings strewn across the track. If that was in real life, that would be a safety car. Of course, the game is broken. Macho leads, Rudy second, Rudy in third. Rudy and Rudy are going to be having a good squabble. Papine's on the back of Bolo as well, running down in towards Brooklands. And this should be easy, I think, for Papine to the inside line. The NLR man, he did compete in the NLR team event, by the way, on Sunday. Did a phenomenal job in that race as well. Bolo is still there on the inside line. He has a huge step of oversteer, though. Papine is forced off onto the left-hand side of Lovefield. Both of these are now side by side, wheel banging down the straight. Somebody's going to have to give, and that is going to be Bolo on the inside line, who gives up the position to Papine, and Papine through and he's into 6th. And now he's got Mr. Rage raging on the back of him.
Yeah, very good start from Bulo, who was at the back of the grid, so he's done an amazing good start. He's staying out of trouble, of course, what happened on the first lap, up into 7th place, fighting for 6th. So he's doing a phenomenal job and just keeping it clean. But yeah, unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, I think he was just avoiding action by the looks of it. I think he just clipped the curb too much and the back end stepped out, as Bobby loses another position to Chippy, who's... Oh, he spun it either way. Chippy is trying to gain some ground back.
Oh no! There's contact. I was trying to bob with Bolo. Sorry to cut you off again. Mr. Rage has gone round as well. Through goes Charlie up to 8. Bunty there up to 7th. He's recovering well off that start. It's absolute mayhem. I think it is because of the hard compounder tyres, to be honest, around here. That's why drivers should have really started on the mediums, I think, just to get the tyres up to temperature. Mr. Rage, though, down in 9th, and Pelly in to pick them with that front wing change. Bobby, I think, has got front wing damage as well. And Bolo there, spun by Mr. Rage. Not his fault. He got caught in the inside curb, Bolo, and Mr. Rage was right up behind him. And name changer.
Yeah, and Rudy, closes the door slightly, but keeps the car in there. He's going to leave room in the exit. Yes, he does. A little bit of a wiggle, using all the battery in the world. Both of these drivers already down to 10%, so they are really pushing these lot. And Rudy still stays ahead, but for now.
Just about. Name changer and full. What on earth is this race? I've never seen a race like it, I think, in FRL. In my 10 seasons, 10 seasons worth of commentary in league racing, I don't think I've ever seen a race like this at the start. We're only on lap 4. We're only on lap 4. Name changer's now on the back of Rudy once again, running down the straight in towards Stowe at 10:15. But in the end, he's not going to get the job done, apart from a very late break on the back of him there. Rudy there in 3rd, name changer there in 4th, doing a good job. I think, as I say, I haven't heard anything else about that restart. If there was to be a potential restart, I think it was just drivers losing it by themselves. On that set of hard compounder tyres, we mentioned how cold they were. Do you remember the blue wall compounder tyre round here a couple of game cycles ago? That is literally, as Rudy picks up a 3-second penalty for running right at Abbey, that is literally what the drivers have just found themselves out in 4 laps of racing here at Silverstone.
Yeah, I can remember that very well, but looking at these drivers, the only driver that's pretty much had a normal race, well, a couple drivers, like Charlie's up there in P8 now, despite having that half spins up to 10th, but if you look at Macho, like the top 4 using their battery, Macho's having a clean race up front, but still opening that gap 3 seconds, and he's still got half the battery to play with.
Yeah, he has, and Macho is pulling away. I think that's just on pure pace as well. As Pelly, by the way, tries to go all the way around the outside of Stowe on the back of Bobby. This is a battle for the wooden spoon at this stage, 14th and 15th position. Not their fault, of course, Pelly having a spin, Bobby having a spin by himself as well. But as long as they keep going, these two, I know Bobby might not necessarily be a driver that continues on. Pelly, I know for a fine fact, is a driver that continues on every single race, and he's been 2 laps down before and still picked up points. So Pelly will keep on going. Bobby will be forced into keeping on going as well with that battle with Pelly, and that could be an interesting battle further down the field for 14th and 15th. Bobby as well saying in the Discord he hates this game apparently, so I wonder if it was the curbs that caught him out coming through 10-15, as we are on board with the battle for second still. Rudy, a name changer. I wonder what these three have in common. Both part of the same esports team, unfortunately for them. Rudy and name changer, second, third and fourth. But Macho, as you mentioned there, has got 40% of ERS. Rudy there, oh, as that name changer looks the inside line there at turn number 3. I thought he was going to get the move done there in towards Village. Just hanging on to the back of him for now. Rudy, by the way, as I was mentioning there and cut myself off, 29% of ERS. Rudy's on 16, name changes on 8. So at the minute, Macho, not only is he pulling away out on track and has got the gaps out to the 3 guys behind him, everyone's running a big old DRS train behind, and they haven't got the most amount of DRS compared to Macho. So they're in trouble.
Yeah, very much so. I think they're just too busy just trying to fight each other at this early stage. I think it's because everyone's on the same tyre. As you see, change of the wooden spoon as Bunty now drops around, but he's trying to fight it back though. He's going to dive down the inside, does a switcheroo. Yes, he does, but doesn't keep it clean though.
I don't know how to describe that battle, to be honest, because it looked like Paddy was going to spin, and then Bobby's car just corrected himself, so that one's been let off, I think, by the stewards. Bobby, though, 30s into 40s, I think he would have had the position anyways. He picks up a 3-second penalty as well. Battle for second was heating up for a second there as well. Paddy, though, in 15th, still at the back of the field. We'll try and keep up with everything, if we can. Everyone is still on that sort of hard spot from the 2 at the bottom end of the field on a set of mediums. For Macho, Rudy, name changer, second, third and fourth. And you mentioned that, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think they are forcing each other into a bit of a battle here. And obviously with Macho pulling away, what, 5/10 a lap pretty much, I think, at this stage. Rudy, a name changer. They are going to have to work together, I think, at this point. The individual, name changer gets caught in the curve through turn number 3. They're going to have to think about themselves, not being as individuals. They've got to work together and take this as a team event, because without this, they're going to be in no chance. And Rudy is now attacking Rudy in towards the left-hander of Brooklands, down the back straight, in towards down the Wellington straight. Name changer now is through as well. And has Rudy got damage?
I'm not too sure.
Know.
I mean, name changer came through that corner at a rapid pace, and obviously he got pushed on the outside to lose some ground and momentum. So I think he was just being cautious of himself there. Obviously, he has got a penalty to his name. I think it was a typical 3 seconds, so that probably won't get removed. But I was going to say, if those two were battling, name changer will have to think about the long game, because these two would be battling. But now he's definitely got past one driver. He should get past Rudy quite easy, because Rudy's got no DRS to defend.
Yeah, and Rudy, is he going to make it look easy, or is he going to make it defend hard on Name Changer? And it's going to be the hard way, because Name Changer looks the inside line, gets overcorrected there, coming through Stowe. On the back of Rudy, I will bring my thoughts in now about this battle, because I've just realised that I think this is potentially more championship-based than anything else, and that's why Rudy is now behind Name Changer. Name Changer, of course, is, what, 5 points ahead, I think, in the title fight coming into tonight. Macho there is currently at this stage 10 points ahead of him. Name Changer would still be behind him at 2 points if Rudy gives up the position for second. There's a spinner through turn 1. Is that Bolo round, I think? Or was that Charlie?
No, Mr. Rage. That was
Mr.
him.
Rage? Wrong person altogether.
Yeah, that's normally me who does that job. Yeah, he lost a bottle after
Name
turn 1.
To the inside line of Brooklands. Rudy makes it look easy in the end, and Name Changer through to second. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, it's fine, but now he's in a difficult position now of trying to get away, because he's got 10% of battery and it's going to be derating as well. And Rudy's got 25%. He's trying to save battery also. So
Marco's retired out on track. That's off track, and that's a safety car. Safety car out on track.
That does look a bit that's quite interesting how he lost it there, because when you lose the car, you normally go on the right-hand side instead of the left. So I'm a bit concerned why that car is in that position, to be honest, because...
Where is his car?
Hopefully, he's on the right-hand side of turn 1, but it's disappeared now. But yeah, that's very unusual and maybe looked at, because you really don't see cars losing it there.
Very, very strange indeed. Not sure if we'll get the word there for Marco potentially about that incident. I can only think either A, he's made a mistake, or B, has he had something going wrong with his wheel or his setup potentially? And if it has, then I can understand that, because as Papine has actually collided with Ryan coming in the pit lane, I think that is more setup more than anything else. I think his wheel is disconnected potentially there, and that is why he is now out of the race, further down the field in 15th. And it was actually on the left-hand side, coming down to turn number 1. It wasn't on the right-hand side, it was actually on the left-hand side out of turn number 1. Pretty much where Guan Yu Zhou, of course, barrel rolled pretty much towards the stands in 2022. Which, God forbid, I've got to say, I hope never happens in Formula 1 ever again, considering the safety improvements here. And especially with sim racing, I don't think it'll happen on this current game cycle. But it was pretty similar, to be honest, to that, in the position where the car actually was. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. It could be. We're hoping it's just a setup issue, but maybe it will still be looked at to it, because it just seemed a little bit very unusual. But yeah, hopefully it is just a setup issue. But well, obviously back to the race. It brings the bottom 2 back into the race now, and now we're in kind of a similar dilemma to last night in F2, because the safety car came out on lap 6, I believe. This is lap 8, and obviously the majority of that field at that time were on mediums. The majority on this set is on hards. Have to go on a set of mediums because you have to use 2 tyre compounds. And I believe the tyre puncture territory is around 16, 17 laps. So these guys who made a pit stop on the mediums, they probably have to make another pit stop again. But I don't know who will come out on top of this. Would it be the remaining hard runners that stay out, or the new mediums that will have to pit again?
Oh, that's a good... I think at the moment... Oh, is Mr. Rage is in. Mr. Rage is into the pit lane, and that is also Chippy in the pit lane. What is Macho doing now in front, still not to the hard compounded tyres? I'm now absolutely perplexed as to what he's actually doing in terms of his strategy. I was going to say mediums are clearly going to be quicker than a set of hards, and that is going to be proven by this, because Macho... on that set of hards, unless he is going one stop to a set of softs, which means it'll be pitting in, what, lap 19, lap 20, I think. If he goes there and there's another safety car around that point, that will really, really help him. Name Changer and Rudy, 2nd and 3rd, they're on that set of mediums. They're going to absolutely fly off the start. They're going to be right there or thereabouts. And Macho's the one all of a sudden in trouble. This is not going to help Macho whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not going to help him at all. Even if there is a safety car, he'll probably be down with the podiums by that stage. And obviously the top guys who will probably get past him eventually, they can just react to the safety car also. So I think Macho's in a lose-lose situation right now, because obviously we've seen last night there was no safety car after this one. And obviously this is one of the longest pit lanes, surprisingly, in the game. So even if you do get a good jump on these guys, even if you do pull away, miraculously, it's going to be hard to maintain that position at the end of the race. So Macho is in a lose-lose situation here.
Yeah, Marco, by the way, has given us a comment about what happened in towards turn number 1. He picked up rear wing damage early on in the race, which is why he spun coming through turn number 1. Unfortunate. I think what's happened probably is he's got caught on the little sausage curb on the inside line. The car has then speared off to the left-hand side, and he's probably thought, yeah, I'm not recovering this. I may as well bin it in the wall. Not by in his own accord, obviously, as Bolo's picked up a 5-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag, even though he's in the queue. Right. I'm going to keep an eye on this, because I'm not sure if he is in AI mode.
Yeah, it looks like he's in AI mode by the way his steering input is. So that's definitely AI driving. So, yeah, that is very questionable, that. I think we don't normally give 5 seconds off. But I think in this case we will have to have a look, as people diving into the pits. But I was going to say, I think Charlie made another pit stop because now he's on a fresh set of hards. So he can definitely make the charge to the end. But again, he's going to have a very, very hard time getting those tyres up to temperature. Even with the formation lap at the beginning, where you can warm them as much as you like, it still took really time. Might take him 5 laps to get him up to full speed. So he could be a dark horse in this race, but he needs the composure just to try and just get to the end.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm still on board with Bolo, by the way. He hasn't. The concerning thing for me was if he's going to pick up regular 5-second penalties. He hasn't. It's only one 5-second penalty that he's picked up, so I'm not sure if... hang on. I'm not sure if it might be Ruti that's slowing everyone down, and they're not sticking to the delta time, because Ruti is more than 10 car lengths behind Bunty. Let me tell you that right now. He is more than 10 car lengths behind Bunty. Now he closes up, but now he's on stream, and we are following his every movement. Maybe the stewards might be applied to give him a penalty because of this, because it looks to me, certainly, that he was more than 10 car lengths. I would have classed that, what, 12, 13 car lengths, I think? And he's doing it again, I think, now down and through Woodcote in towards Cops. He's not too far off compared to what he was, but I would class this as about 12 car lengths.
Yeah, I'm getting, again, deja vu from last night, if you were watching, of course. Stephen did the same thing, but he was like half a lap up behind, or a sector behind the safety car. So, yeah, I don't see the idea of doing this. Is this just a tactic of just trying to get the safety car to stay out more to help the mediums get to the end? Either way, well, the safety car is in now, so there's no point, but now he closes right back up. Now it comes in. So yeah, I'm a little bit of iffy about this gameplay, let's just say. But that's just my opinion, and you've got your own, of course. But yeah, this is just very rare to see.
Yeah, he's backing off as well, even behind Bunty now, as the safety car will be restarting. The McLaren, by the way, Bobby's absolutely jumping all over the place in the background. Hopefully he doesn't cause chaos off the start, but we are now getting the virtual Burmalander. He is now the virtual safety car, of course, Macho in front, and Macho will decide, I think, to go, possibly, on the exit here of Stowe at turn number 15. He's now on the run then towards Vale and Club. He'll go just before Vale, I think, in towards Club Corner. And he's now trying to back the field up as much as he can. But I think if I was in his shoes, I would have went now. I would have went early, and completely early. He now comes through the final couple of corners, still backing up the pack. Still backing up the pack as Macho still on board with him. Bolo and Papine having a little bit of a squabble position further down the field. This is a very, very edgy restart for Macho.
Yeah, this is too low.
But now we get back underway, and Macho just about gets room, 0.4 of a second clear, but Ruti's already ahead of Bunty, and Bunty will not like that, and he's gone for a spin through turn number 1. Bunty's off, Ryan's off as well. Ryan off through turn number 1, I think has had a moment. Zabel's retired, and Ryan's actually retired, I think, on track, which is frustrating, which is, from his perspective, very frustrating, because he has retired out on track. That's not allowed, I don't think, in the rules, but Macho... a bit of like a Magello sort of start there, but his name changer on the back of him. 2 championship leaders now, nearly side by side, in towards Brooklands. They are side by side, in towards Brooklands, but surely it's going to be the mediums out on top. Name changer goes around the outside of left field, surely to get this job done. Macho there on the inside line, name changer through, much fresher tyres, gets through. Macho's going to try and come back at him. No coming back at name changer though, and the fin is through, and he's into the lead of the race, and that is game changing for the championship.
Brilliant move. He needed to make that move down. He needs to pull away for about probably like 3 seconds if he can, especially to Rudy will be his main contender for this race. But he needs to get that gap open as much as he can so he can save tyres at the back end of this race, because the fine margins of the tyre life around here is going to be very, very slim when it comes to the end. So we have to just wait and see about that. But Rudy needs to get the jump on Macho as soon as he can. The more he fights, the more he's going to hurt those tyres even more. Probably about 2%. Every battle they go through. But yeah, Buelow is back up to racing now, up to P6, as yeah, which is I'm not really a big fan of the late safety car restarts, because obviously we get little dilemmas what just happened there with the Red Bull and the Mercedes being bunched up to everyone. So yeah, I really don't think that really should be allowed, late safety cars, because it just messes up the whole thing, and obviously messes up the drivers as well, as we did see.
Yeah, I think with Macho as well as Papine's right on the back of Ruti running down the straight. I wonder if Ruti's got damage potentially. We mentioned this a little bit earlier on. Papine to the inside on of Brooklands. Not going to get the job done on Ruti, but he's oversteering coming through the corners. And that seems to me as my TV's going to turn itself off, which is not great whatsoever. As I lean over to the remote and turn it off. There we go. Ruti there in fourth, Papine there in fifth. Ruti... He's either struggling in terms of his tyres or he's got damage from earlier on in the race, and I can't think of what it is. Coming through Cops there, he was absolutely fine, so it makes me think he hasn't got damage, and it's just his pure pace out on track. And Name Changer now, as a result of that pace, is now 1.3 seconds clear. Macho in second, Rudy in third. We'll run through the penalties in a second as Charlie just picked up 1-on-1 as well. Chippy there and Mr. Rage are running line of stern down the straight now in towards Stowe at turn number 15. Ival saying in the chat, Legends has it, says Name Changer was a former F1 Esports Challengers man, and that is Bolo round coming through Stowe as well. The Aston Martin spearing off circuit there on the left hand side, got caught in the outside curve, spun the car around. He's now at the back of the field, Bunty's now passing him, and the CPL man is through on Bolo, and Bolo there down in 13th. Not the best race for him, even though he was just sneaking in towards contention for top 5 finish.
Yeah, unfortunate for them. I think he just got on the dirt, and he just lost the car entirely. No front end grip. So, but he needs to just try and get to the fin if he can.
Pelly to the inside on of Bobby, just about nearly getting the job done on. Bobby spun. Bobby has spun, coming out of Aintree. Spears on track. Luckily didn't come into oncoming traffic there in rejoining the circuit, but Pelly there through and he's into 6th. Chippy in 7th. What I was about to say is Pelly was right on the back of him, and then Bobby spins by himself, as Bobby normally does. He's down there in 13th position and struggling, unfortunately. The F2 man struggling here in F1, and I mean, this is the big step up that we mentioned a little bit earlier on for Bobby. He's just got to try and take it in his stride. But he'll be mentally frustrated because he'll be taking that in his stride and probably thinking, well, what else can I do? I can't really do much more.
Yeah, because didn't he say, wasn't he the one that got damage from rear end as well?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Really
so I think that's even more struggling. But now for P6 here, for Chippy, up to P6, followed by Mr. Rage. He returns a favour. Pretty much similar to Leclerc and Verstappen in 2019.
Still, I find Richie's retired in the pit lane, which I think we all going over, but Chippy and Pelly are still side by side, and Chippy 3-second penalty, that needs removing. I'm on board with Mr. Rage, that was never a 3-second penalty. Pelly just about nearly forced him off track, and now he's coming back at him, coming through the right hand return number 3. Brilliant battle by Pelly. Great move again on Chippy. Chippy there in 6th. He's been sold to the chip shop, quite literally. He's going to be fattened up. Pelly through and he's into 5th. Chippy in 6th. There's a spinner. I think Bobby is that round coming through Village there, sliding. There's a yellow flag as well, and that is Ruti's AI coming out of the pit lane, which I think is what the cause of the yellow flag is. But Chippy and Pelly, I've got to be honest, they were off track for some of that. But in the end, what a battle between them both. And Pelly is proving why Pelly is an F1 driver through and through. He's there in 5th, outperforming his skin right now. Brilliant battle with Chippy. Probably one of my favourite battles of the whole season.
Yeah, fantastic move. Literally, Verstappen and Leclerc in 2019, side by side through each corner you see. Obviously in the Ferrari and Red Bull, ironic enough. But it looks like Chippy is not done with him yet. He's got a much better run out of Beckett. And, well, licking candy from a baby pretty much. He's just coming straight back at him. But need to watch out for Rage though. Yeah, because now the Ferrari's de-syncing down the straight, and that is costing, but he hangs around the outside, goes wide though, still holds the position, leaves the room on the outside.
What? Oh,
wheel contact though. He doesn't go off, but a little bit of wheel bang, but it should be okay. Good battle at the start of this restart for 5th place.
Yeah, I've got to be honest on Paddy there. I think that was a little bit too much. I think he moved across into the braking zone there just to try and counter off Mr. Rage in 7th. Doing a good job though. I hope this battle continues on because I really want to see this and how this progresses through. And I'm not sure, by the way, what Pelly's running in terms of his downforce, but I want those wings.
So Chippy lost traction out of that corner. He was off roll, so he's going to be quite less power down this straight. And now it's bringing the Ferrari back in. With this battle going on, it's just brought a few cars into this battle, down to 9th place where Zero is. So he's got the best view of the house, so probably nick him a few positions. So And with 10 laps to go, this could be a very good, spicy battle for the end of the race.
Yeah, Bunty as well, our former league owner, is probably absolutely whetting the appetite at this battle in front of him. He is going to be part of this battle, I think, in about 2 laps' time, because everyone's just going to battle once again. Mr. Rage is going to be on the back of Pelly. Zavel's going to be on the back of the Charlie. This helps Bunty. Bunty's 1.3 seconds behind, catching every time. And now look at them. Here comes Mr. Rage once again on the back of Pelly. Pelly's having to use up a bit of EOS though this time around to try and defend. Mr. Rage, though, out of the DRS, is now pulling to the inside line, and that's actually a nice move in the end from the CPI man. He is doing his interstick, but Pelly again, he's got so much traction coming out of Stowe. Tries to get the job done, but in the end, Pelly cannot find his way through, and Mr. Rage just doing his interstick, but Pelly is putting up a stoic defence, and the stoic defence has ended with a full spin. Well recovered, my friend. Full 360, that's a 7 from Pelly, and there he's there in 10th position.
Oh, good one. Didn't think of that. Brilliant. Yeah, good save from him, but disappointment that he lost all those positions. His tyres will be very overheated now, and he's going to lose time with that as Buelow picks up another penalty down in 11th. But that does bring Bunty back in the fight though already. He's closed up in a 2.5 lap that he had, and now he's straight back in this though. But I was going to say Euro, but not in F2. Chippy has dropped the pace a little bit. Now he's just brought. I think he's letting Mr. Rage hold on here, but only just. He should know where the gap is, but he's not using his battery to extend it. So I think he's happy where he is at the minute. Up front. Between Rudy and Name Changer, 2.4 seconds, which is very good, very standard gap to keep manageable. Obviously Macho in third, but yet to make a pit stop, and he needs to have one very, very soon. And if he's going on the soft tyres, he's probably going to be on around lap 19 in 2 laps on.
Oh, here's Bunty on the outside on a Zero in towards Stowe. Tries to get the job done. Pine still Macho. Yeah, Macho's in to the pit lane, and Bunty gets the job done on Zero. Nice move that by Bunty. Round the outside of Stowe. Outguns the Finn, and he's through, and he's into what will be, I think, 7th position, because Macho, obviously, if you mention, is in the pit lane, and also, through goes Mr. Rage on the outside line. Where did that one come from? Chippy, absolutely sold once again. He needs some vinegar, I think, on that Red Bull to try and get him back into contention, maybe just grease him up slightly. He needs to grease himself up in terms of these battles, because Pepine is in third, doing a fantastic job for the NLR team, but Macho is in. And I am literally going to be cursing Macho in terms of his strategy call, because in the end, he's missed the pit lane. He's gone into a set of mediums. He's right down the back of the field. He has got to hope, above hope, that there's another safety car in this race. If there is no safety car, Macho is out of the points. He may as well come in the pit lane, go on the set of softs and go for fastest lap, because it's the only attempt he's got of stealing the point from Name Changer. Name Changer, as it stands, will be more than a race wins distance clear of Macho. I think on 30 points the advantage.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised they didn't take any information over last night by what happened, so I thought he would have took consideration of that, but it's just not worked out for him. And now he's just paid the price for it, and rightfully so. As we see, Chippy is still keeping him honest. Aston Martin, and there's Buelow. He's in the gravel. Is he still keeping it going? Yes, he is in Maggotts and Beckett's. He's going to keep it going, but that could be race over for him, unless there will be a safety car. And there he is in the wooden spin behind Macho.
Yeah, I was getting nervous there. I was seeing that on the mini-map, and I thought, oh, don't rejoin in front of Macho, don't rejoin, but he didn't. So fair play to Bolo there, down in 12th. Macho there is now into 11th. He's got to hope for another spin. Well, he's got Bobby in front of him, so I think a spin is pretty much imminent. Oh, I thought that was him spinning. I thought that was him spinning coming to the final corner. 10-second penalty.
10 seconds.
Adds to
that could
insult.
Be game over.
Yeah, adds to insult, and yeah, Bolo, I think, just needs to come in, retire. His job is done. His race is done. He's not going to get a safety car, I think, towards the end of this race. It's disappointing. He had so much talent, I think, with running in P5, P6 until that spin. He was doing a phenomenal job, and he is one to watch out for. If we come back to Britain on the new game, he might be one to watch out for, certainly, whatever tier he might be in. Chippy on the back of Mr. Rage is in 4th and 5th position. A little bit of an outside curb scrape there from Chippy. Red Bull on the back of the sister car of the Fantarry as Bolo retires indeed into the pit lane. That is him out of the race. And that's the 4th retirement, actually, of the race, with Bunty now on the back of Charlie. Oh, my word, he's absolutely sold him coming out of Chapel. And Bunty now, prayers are answered, and he's into 6th.
Yeah, brilliant recovery from Bunty there, despite his 2 incidents at the start of the race and the safety car restart. So I don't know if he's more disappointed than happy to recover, but this is a fantastic pace from Bunty. And look at the grip he has. Compared to Charlie, yeah, Charlie is on the hards, but either way, that's a massive advantage with the power as well. And he's already challenging the Red Bull and Mr. Age. So could we see him probably challenging? I wouldn't say challenge for the podium. The gap is 8 seconds.
Oh no! I thought I saw a car spear off on the right-hand side there, but I must be seeing things. I clearly must be seeing things. I thought there was a car spearing off on the right-hand side, unless it was Bolo's AI that came out the pit lane and then retired on the right-hand side. Ruti, by the way, in the comment section, I think it's a very valid point as well. And he's asked, can mediums make it to the end? I've already replied by saying they might be tough, but they should be able to make it to the end. It really depends, I think, in this scenario on the driver. If you were in, say, name changer shoes right now, Michael, what would you do? Would you conserve the tyres, knowing that you've got a 2.5 second gap, or would you just keep pushing until the tyres go on brink and then possibly get to puncture territory at the end of the race?
Well, I did say this on the last safety car, because obviously last night the tyres were going up when their tyres hit pretty lap 15, lap 14 with the medium compound, so they are on the edge of tyre wear right now, because the mediums are definitely past their best, so you might as well conserve. Name changer is in the best seat of the house, so I think he should be...
Big mistake! Sorry to cut you off. Big mistake from Chippy. Inside curb coming through Vale. Bunty now realises that, through and he's into 5th. Chippy has a huge mistake, looking completely oversteery. And I will let you finish your point in just a second, but my point now is, the tyres are beginning to blister for some of these guys in the set of mediums. You said they made it, what, 15, 16 laps in F2. These guys are better. These guys are better, well, better skilled, I should say, in F1, so they should be able to make it to the end. But as people are saying in the chat, it is going to be touch and go.
Yeah, and obviously the pace, even if F2, F1, no matter how good the skill is, the tyre wear will be dropping off. The mediums are dropping off as we speak, because we're on lap 12 of the medium tyres, and obviously Charlie on the hards well is making an impact. He's definitely in the fight now, despite the penalties, but I think it's definitely the crossover point with the hards and the mediums. But the medium tyres now, they just have to try and just get to the end, despite fighting each other. But the more you fight, the more it's going to hurt the medium. So it is really going to be close to who's going to get to the end. I really hope they do get to the end, because they are very much experienced.
There's a predicted spin for Bobby.
Yep, obviously the daily spin for Bobby. Not having a good start of the season for him. He, pretty much got 4th in his debut for F1, so he has got the pace there. He just has mistakes here and there, but you just got to learn from it and get better on top of it as well. So I believe it's just a learning curve for him, as name changer still holds that 2.3 second gap. So I think he's just cruising for now, just to save the tyre alive. So he's definitely in conceiving. So is Rudy and pretty much the top 3. So I think the guy who might be in trouble at the end, probably Bunty, because obviously he made that spin earlier on, especially in the gravel, where it hurt his tyres even more by 5%. So yeah, Bunty might have the pace, but would he have the tyre life to get to the end? I'm more concerned about his out of that whole battle right now.
Yeah, well, let's wait and find out. It's lap 22 out of 26. NLR 123 at the top end of the field, followed by CPI 456. It's almost as if we've been transported into a team event all of a sudden in FRL F1. It's not. Name changer leads from Rudy in second, Papine there in third. NLR 123. Papine, I think, picked up a podium, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of seasons ago, I think, here in FRL. Certainly know we performed well around here in the NLR team event a couple of weeks ago. I think he was participating for the NLR team at that event, and he did a phenomenal job. He's got good pace around here. Everyone on that tyres as well. Those are the penalties, by the way. We haven't run through the penalties, and judging by some of the penalties, Bunty has got a chance and only a slight one, if he can get a second to Papine, and somehow those tyres find him back towards the end of the race, Bunty's got a chance on the back of Papine to actually steal the podium here. Papine's got 8 seconds worth of penalties. Bunty's 9.4 seconds in behind right now, so he needs to gain 1.4 seconds basically on the back of Papine in, what, 3 or 4 laps' time. It's possible, it's doable, but on his tyres it's probably not, and Bunty is going to have to struggle. But he probably doesn't realise that. It's the good thing that we do, and if I was in Bunty's shoes, and if he's got us on in the background, push like you've never pushed before.
Yeah, and obviously you can tell that Mr. Rage is down 10% on Barry with that red light flashing, and he's definitely got half the Barry to play with. So if he wants to get this maybe podium at 18, he needs to get done on this lap and try and get inside of the top 3 if he can, but he needs to be very, very careful, especially if he's going to try and pull away from Rage if he does so. I just don't know how this race is going to plan out. It's really fantasizing to watch, because obviously we're just playing in the mind if these guys are going to make it to the end. They definitely will, I think. Will the pace be there? But for the top 3, definitely. It just seems we're just a question mark if Bunty's going to make top 3, but we have to wait and see.
Yeah, and all of a sudden... Go on.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, Rudy, by the way, I was literally going to say, Rudy's catching name changer all of a sudden. 1.7 seconds. The gap was more than 2 seconds. I swear it was, what, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 seconds, around that. And now the gap is 1.6 seconds. So Rudy, all of a sudden, he's got more ERS. So we will use that up. 32% of ERS. Name changer on 6%. Name changer... Oh... He's been going lap upon lap. All of these guys, to be fair, have been going lap upon lap. But Rudy has saved his ERS, which means to me he's been more saving in terms of his tyres. And I mean, I'll turn the timing tire off on the left-hand side just so you see. Look at the front left of Rudy compared to the front left of Name Changer. That is a huge blister going through the middle of Name Changer's tyres right now. He's got rid of the little dirt that was on that tyre. But there's a huge blister occurring through there. There's a huge blister occurring through Rudy. But I've got to say, Rudy's tyres are looking fresher than what Name Changer's is, and that's why he's catching. And look at the gap. The gap is now 1.4 seconds coming through Maggots and Beckett. Rudy is now on a mission. He doesn't care about a team race. He doesn't care about Name Changer being a former F1 Esports Challengers man. All he cares about is getting the race win and trying to get that penalty removed.
Yeah, and he's actually doing a fantastic job. So I think he was conserving when he had the clear air and clear opportunity. I think he conserved for about 5 laps, and now he's slowly bringing down the pace down. He's bringing down massively, 1.3 seconds now. With 2 laps to go, he's going to be right in the back of him on the last lap here if he keeps it up.
It is going to be a fascinating race. All there in the chat saying Bunty seems to have more lives than a cat, so I'd like to think it will be him. As speaking of which, I think we've just seen a position change. Zero, I think, had a moment, if I'm not mistaken. They're down in 8th position. So Charlie Throoney's into the Chippy 7-0 there, down in 8th position. Not sure if his tyres were going there. I didn't really catch what happened there, so I'll have to feed that back through on the stream. But it was actually position change between Charlie and Chippy. So Charlie Throoney's into 6th, Chippy there in 7th. That's what happened there, and that's what I slightly missed. But look at the gap, 1.3 seconds coming down. We should be more excited, I think, going on to the final lap of the race. This race has been a little bit boring, let's just face it, in terms of the front-end battles. All of the battles happening in the mid-pack and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th at the minute. Bobby Speed's in the pit lane. I think he might be done for tonight. But Name Changer leading the way. Rudy there in 2nd. Bit of a slight twitch coming through the middle of Maggots. Now through Beckett. Now onto Chapel. Now down the Hangar Straight once again on this former airfield circuit. But Name Changer leads. Rudy in 2nd. Rudy is catching the back of Name Changer. Has Name Changer's tyres gone off the cliff? I don't know.
I don't really know either. It's just a question mark, really. But he has used all his battery now. They are on equal amounts now, so his advantage has gone. And now we're on to the final lap. It's all or nothing now. It's no conserving. It's just go for it on the very last lap. Can they all get to the end? Can they get to the end safely? Is more the question. But we have to wait and see. Takes a wide line down to turn 3.
Bobby is nearly a lap down on this, and he's actually just came out ahead of Name Changer. Name Changer has not got DRS. Rudy does not have DRS, which is very fortunate indeed. Charlie, by the way, his hard, you mentioned, what, a lap ago. He's now on, or a couple of laps ago. He's on the back of Bunty. Look at his tyres. Bunty's tyres are absolutely dropping off the cliff. Here's Charlie on the back, potentially, for P5 finish. Bunty is not going to be picking up, I don't think, P3 at this stage. However, oh, looking at the gap, Charlie looks at the inside line, coming through Brooklands. Bunty, though, has to try and fly. The gap is there, or the gap is not there, I should say. But the gap, if it cools down and Papine gets a puncture, which he has, he's got a front left puncture. Papine's got a front left puncture, and he might have a rear left puncture if he's not careful as well. And Papine is the one that is now cracked. Bunty, all of a sudden, is now on for a podium. I knew the gap was coming down. I was uncertain of myself, but Papine now has got a puncture, and he's right at the worst possible moment to pick up a puncture, coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Everyone has to slow down, take it from good measure. Rager's through. Charlie's going to be through as well. Bunty's on for a podium. Name Changer, however, will come off board with that battle for a second, because Name Changer, coming through the final couple of corners, he's managed the tyres very, very well indeed. He is on the run to the line to win here in Britain. Fantastic race. Rudy in second, and Charlie goes for a podium around the outside. Tries to go around the outside, coming through Valen Club. Mr. Rage still hanging on to his tyres for Grim Life. Bunty's going to be on the podium. Mr. Rage third, Charlie in fourth, but look, Bunty's on the podium, they're in third. Fantastic drive from Bunty. In the end, comes out. Wow, what an ending to the British Grand Prix. Name Changer wins. Rudy second, Bunty in third. Yeah, Chippy has spun. He's got a front left puncture, I think, as well. So front left puncture from Chippy. Pelly and Bobby are going to be getting home in their own time further down the field. Rudy was not far off in terms of 3 punctures. We had 2, Papine and Chippy. Papine in the end, final lap of the race, pretty much like Hamilton, coming out of Lovefield, picking up the puncture. In the end, had to fight half a lap to try and get on the podium. Unlike Hamilton, Hamilton won the race win, took the race win in 2020. Papine is out of the podiums by an absolute country mile in the end, finishing down in 8th. Bunty on the podium. Great race. Name Changer wins. Rudy second. Bunty there in third. Brilliant. And Macho, 6th by the way. Championship swings to Name Changer's favour.
Yeah, incredible recovery from Macho, but what a drive from Bunty. I really didn't think he'll make it to the end. It didn't look like, after Charlie made that move on him, he just dropped like a stone in sea, just was disappearing out of the distance. But well done for him to get to the end, and equally respect to Papaya to even keep it on the black stuff, not spinning at all. But yeah, what dramatic end. And I did say when it hits the 15 laps on the mediums, it could go the other way around very quickly, and it certainly did right on the last lap.
It did. It did change. Chippy is not happy with his puncture at the end of that race. It could have been a much better finish, I think, from his perspective. Quite a few guys were unlucky, I think, in that race, due to spins, due to punctures towards the end of the race there as well. Papine, you've got to very much feel sorry for him. He was driving a solid race. It could have been an NLR 1-2-3. In the end, it was not. It was an NLR 1-2 with a CPI 345. And as I say, it's like we had a team event between these two here tonight in FRL F1. But in the end, the former F1 Esports Challengers man of Name Changer takes the top step of the podium, extends his championship lead over Macho to more than 20 points. I can definitely guarantee you that. No penalty should be coming his way. MedCC in the end takes the win. And do you know what? He absolutely deserved that, because in the end, he was getting closed down by Rudy. In the end, he was rather dominant in that second half of the race.
Yeah, very conservative in the end of that race, and he truly deserved the win. And so did Rudy as well. He did really, really well, saving his tyres, but just not quite at the end to get the race win, obviously with the penalties as well. But either way, well, fantastic result for them too. But I think the guy on top was just probably Bunty, after spinning into collision in turn 1 the first lap, and the safety car restart as well, and somehow he still managed his third. Just unbelievable drive with dirty tyres as well. Mr. Rage, fantastic result in 4th, Zero in 5th, Macho 6th, Charlie, good results on the hard tyres as well, in 7th. Papine, despite the puncture, down in 8th, still keeps in the black stuff, and unhappy Chippy down in 9th with a puncture also, and Pele, is it?
Pelly,
in 10th, in the throw as well, very quiet race for him. But wow, what an entertaining end to the race there.
I'm just glad Pelly got a point at the bottom end of the field, because I think after his battle with the Red Bull early on in the race, I think he absolutely deserved it. Let's be honest. It was fantastic. Hawk, by the way, saying to Macho, I like the commitment to the Ferrari traditions. Hopefully we will hear the Ferrari traditions in a second, because we are going to hop it over to the interview room right now. I'm going to jump in that party. Michael, if you want to follow me along, you can. I am not... Yeah, I will see you there. Right, let's quickly do this so we can get the party started. Let us go in. People are probably confused because they are realising that they are on Discord. I can hear somebody as well coming through on my end in the game chat, which I think is Michael joining the party. But there we are. We are now in the invite party, which means we can now speak hopefully to our guys who did finish in that race. And there is Macho, who I thought was going to be P1 in the end of that race, but in the end, safety cars an absolute given around here. He's mentioned that in the chat as well. Chipsmonster saying, "Can I also join?" Yes, it's in the invites, which normally get sent. It's in that chat. So if you want to join the party, it's on that chat. So if you do want to join, you can, and it is there. It's not on Discord this week because unfortunately Michael couldn't afford Discord enough to try and join me on OBS, which is why we've done it on the good old-fashioned way on PS.
What a way to just put a knife into my heart there.
Honestly, though, that was a terrific race. I mean, I still can't get over what happened lap 1, lap 2, lap 3. I don't know really what happened in that race, to be honest. But we can now speak to the man who was at the forefront of it all, and the man, of course, who finished in P1. It is Mr. NLR Name Changer. A name changer that, at the end of the race, was a bit touch and go. Really was catching you towards the end. Talk us through it, because your tyres were looking shot. Yeah, we can't hear you, by the way, on the stream. All of that lovely voice not coming through on the stream. It's in party settings, I think. It is fine. It is fine. Yeah, we had to change because... Go on.
It seems about...
He's still trying to find it. It's... I don't know, you on PS5, aren't you? Yeah, it's different because I think it's like share...
Oh yeah, static.
I hope so. Can we hear name changer now?
Yeah, you should do if you go to settings and just group...
Well, I pressed some buttons.
Yeah, you should be alright.
Rooty says yes, so I'm taking it on face value that we can hear you. There we go, we can hear you.
So, retry?
A retry.
What was the question?
A retry. Yeah, congratulations on that P1. As we were saying there, until people couldn't hear you, your tyres, 85% at the end of the race. It was a bit touch and go.
Yeah, it was, what the hell was... yeah, it was very touch and go. Cannot be asked to do this again, so, anyways, yeah. GG's to everybody.
Yeah, GG's to everybody indeed, and it was looking like for quite a while that it was going to be an NLR 1-2-3 there out on track, with of course Pepine running there in third until he picked up his puncture coming through Luffield. It was a very much a controlled race from your perspective as well, and talk us through that safety car, because you must have been thinking with Macho, why on earth have you not come in the pit lane?
Well, I would have stood out as well, to be fair, but I saw some reports from the race yesterday, where I heard people, well, some people managed to do, what, 20 odd laps with mediums. So I just kind of thought, you know, why not? Because, Macho, yeah, so he seemed quite quick again on the race train. So yeah, I just tried something different and it worked out, thankfully for me.
Yeah, it worked out just about. It worked out. I think
Yeah.
another lap, they would have been gone. If it was a 27-lap race, it would have been gone. I can definitely guarantee you that one. Michael, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Not really. I just wanted I think he just wants to go. He seems a bit shooken up and wants to have a drink. Bit of a tense end of the race there without really closing up on you. But was it all just about tyre wear right at the end there? Because it wasn't just. It seems like a lot of drivers were struggling on the medium set. So was it just trying to get to the end from your point of view?
Yeah, it was just, well, exactly that. So, well, as I mentioned on the mute part of my interview, at lap 18 I checked my tire wear and I saw 40%. So I kind of thought, oh shit, like, I better start like save. So yeah, I just basically committed lots of short shifting and used higher gears than normal. And yeah, as you guys said, it worked just about, thankfully for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously it was very, very tense to watch as well, to know who's going to finish in what position. It was very, very on the fine line of drivers losing it, but you're one of the drivers who actually managed to keep on the black stuff and actually come out the race victory today. And obviously we're going to Monaco next week, which shouldn't be a problem for drivers, but are very difficult to overtake. How are you going to do there as the championship leader?
Well, I guess I have to go to the avoiding risks road basically from this point onwards with a healthy gap right now, the second place matchup, so yeah, I'll see. Still a long season, so anything can happen.
Indeed.
Yeah, definitely a long season indeed. Of course, Monaco going forward as well. Should be interesting next week, obviously, with the change up in the calendar from Britain to Monaco. Go and enjoy evening, name changer.
Thank you, and thanks for calling, Sam. And welcome back, Michael F1.
Thank you very much. Oh, that warms my heart, that. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Now I can get off his chair very gingerly and just get probably a glass of Stella, probably.
Yeah, I will.
When I say glass, I mean a tank of Stella, probably.
He needs it. He looks like a tank. He looks like a tank. Never mind, he needs a tank of beer. Goodness me.
Well, I'd say I deserve it, so yeah.
He does.
Enjoy your night.
Thanks, boss.
You are very welcome indeed. Now I have to do the unfortunate pleasure of having to flick through a blue screen to see who is next on my list, and I believe it's going to be the man in P3 if I'm not mistaken. It is Mr. CPI Bunty, and Bunty, you must have took inspiration from me in the background, because I said to you about 4 laps before the end of the race, you've got to push. That 8-second gap was there. Papine picks up a puncture, and lo and behold, you're on the podium.
Yeah, I was what's called. My mum said on the stream, you guys were mentioning Pepin and the possibility of getting him. But yeah, it was obviously a tough race in terms of it was such like a yo-yo. But yeah, at the end there, I obviously didn't have a penalty, which was nice for once, for a change. I think for the first time this season. And yeah, obviously Pepin had 8 seconds. I'll be honest, around Britain it's obviously tough to gain time, so didn't really back myself to close the gap. I knew I had extra ERS, but I didn't really think I'd be able to get Pepin, and especially with the tyres, as like Name Changer said, being on such high tyre wear, I was concerned if I did push I'd get a puncture, because I was on like 82%, like similar to Name Changer. It was well within puncture territory, and obviously you saw, I think it was Chippy, Pepin all get punctures, so I didn't want to be one of them, so I really was trying to ease off. But obviously Pepin got a puncture, and I managed to get a podium, which I think is very much deserved. I think with the qualifying, and then I think I came back twice to a podium position because I had I think the turn 1 incident, which on lap 1, which feels quite a while ago, and obviously I spun again on turn 1 with cold tyres, so to come back twice onto the podium is I wouldn't have liked to have done it that way. I would have liked a bit more of a nice peaceful drive, but nonetheless it was very fun.
Yeah, it was a very fun race. It certainly seemed that from our end as well. Talk us through what happened lap 1, lap 2, because it almost looked like everyone was on a skating rink at the start of that race.
Yeah, you saw, if you didn't see, I think Ruti spun on the formation lap at turn 1, so instantly Everyone was struggling with the cold tyres. I mean, I was just trying my best not to spin on the formation lap. It did feel like an icing rink where if you obviously put too much lock on the what's it called, the wheel, formation lap or on the first lap, the car would just slip away from you. And yeah, I think turn 1, I don't think I spun because of cold tyres on lap 1. I think it was because I decided to go for a bit of an ambitious move around the outside of turn 1 when there was Rooty in the middle, and I think it was Macho on the inside, and I think I got pinched, which happens. But yeah, I think it's hard to say, especially around Britain with maybe so many straights. There's not many corners to warm up the tyres, so yeah, it's a bit more accentuated, the spins and the cold tyres and the icing rink, if you like.
Yeah, it certainly seemed that way, and obviously after that spin, after that moment, of course, and that safety car bringing you back into contention, picking up that 3 finish, I think, is very much deserved. What's your goal now going forward for the rest of the season? Of course, I know we've got Monaco next week, and I'm sure Michael will ask you about it in a second. But what is your goal now for for going forward in the rest of the season? Is to pick up more podiums, or just be consistent with the finishes?
I always say top 5, but maybe I need to start backing myself for top 3. I think it's like a psychological thing. I'd like to say going forward I'm gonna get loads more podiums, and that will be the aim. But it's like once you get in that podium position, I know I get really nervous and mistakes creep in because you're kind of in unprecedented territory. But once I think if I can keep getting these top 5s and then maybe get a podium every couple of races, then I think that'd be a decent target. It's a shame Keke didn't join because obviously we're P2 in the standings. I know name changes really helping Alfa Romeo, but yeah, if Keke was here today it would have been nice because we could have maybe closed in a bit on Alfa, because I know Keke's quick, and it would have been nice to be a bit closer coming into Monaco in the constructors, but it's not completely over.
Yeah, unfortunately, Keke was busy with something called F1 Esports Challenges. I'm not sure if somebody's heard of that here in the party. Mr. Name Changer, I'm looking at you, of course. But yeah, very good P3 finish for you, of course, out on track. Michael, though, any questions?
Again, I struggle to get questions out, but I'm just still stumped. You still made it to the end, despite crashing into the lap 1 and spinning out on the first safety car restart. And I'm just thinking, how did you manage to compose yourself of getting yourself back into that fight, and probably with more worn out tyres than anyone with the people around you? I'm just, how did you compose yourself for trying to get back into that fight, basically, and still manage to get a podium?
I think yesterday helped a lot, watching the F2 stream, seeing I think Geese, the race leader, spin. There was so many punctures yesterday, so knowing that coming into this race, and I knew straight away, but going on to the mediums, I think it was like lap 10, I knew it'd be quite a stretch to get them to the end watching F2, so I tried my best to like every lap try not to be too hard on the steering. And it's difficult because obviously I was trying to catch up after a spin, so you're trying to make overtakes and not use your tyres too much, but it was probably a bit of luck. I think it could have been me, could have been Chippy, who obviously got a puncture. It could have been anyone when you get over 75%. But yeah, once I saw a few other guys get punctures, I knew to really slow down, especially given other people had penalties. I didn't have any reason to go that quickly. So yeah. Probably F2 helped quite a bit yesterday, watching that.
Yeah, well, I did think that you would be the first one to drop the tyres, because obviously with that spin before with gravel dirty tyres, I thought you would have been the first one to suffer with the punches, but thankfully for your part you didn't. But obviously with the restarts and the start of the race was your main downfall tonight, so obviously going to Monaco next week, are you just going to be looking at your probably awareness for next week, or are you just going to go for it as normal every week by week?
Yeah, I think if you spin around Monaco, I think there's a very low chance of a safety car around Monaco, just because of the nature of the game. I don't think I've had a safety car around Monaco, so if I do spin, I think that will be the curtains for my race. I know it's gonna, next race, no mistakes in terms of the race, gotta maybe not go 100% every lap, go 97%. Just leave a little bit on the edge, especially around Monaco. You're pushing every lap, I'll just bin it in the wall. So yeah, I'll try and take it a bit more easy around Monaco. Have hopefully another nice qualifying. I've been third now twice in a row, which is really nice. So if I could do it again, then around Monaco, I'd like to think that's possibly a podium.
Well, good luck for that, and hopefully your teammate will return next week and charge Alfa Romeo for the title in the constructors. But yeah, congratulations on your podium, surprising podium from my point of view with the tyres you had on. But yeah, fantastic drive from you, and enjoy your podium victory tonight.
Yeah, thank you for commentating on both streams, F1 and F2.
I'm knackered. I need a bottle of
No, you are very welcome. You're very welcome indeed as well. I now have to check my list once again and see who is next up, and it is, I believe, the man in P5. But before we get to the man in P5, I have some breaking news that has just hit the newswires via Twitter. There's a well-respected Twitter account called Bill_Kun, and he leaks out some of the game release date, and I've just seen a tweet actually just been put out in the last hour. F1 23 apparently is going to be released on June the 16th, so that is Canadian Grand Prix weekend, June the 16th for F1 23, and of course F1 23 Champions Edition apparently is going to be on the 13th of June. That is what is rumoured. I can't tell you more than that because I am sworn to secrecy, but it is pretty much spot on as to what I've heard as well in terms of the release date with that. With that though, we go to the man who finished of course in P5, it is Zero, and Zero starting of course in P10 in qualifying. P5 finish I think is very respectful considering some of the battles you had further down the field.
Yeah, and also considering the 3 spins I had during the race as well, which obviously wasn't ideal. Like 2 of them literally happened on lap 1 and lap 2, and then it was just a matter of trying to not have that happen again. But then the safety car restart happened, and from there on it was just about, you know, keeping it mistake free, having 2 warnings at pretty much the entire race as well, so that put a bit of extra pressure on me.
Yeah, and that extra pressure, I think you seemed to brush off that pressure, to be honest, after that safety car, and really began to thrive through the race. Of course, you had 3 spins in that race as well, so I think to finish P5 is just utterly remarkable. Talk us through that safety car as well. That safety car brought everyone pretty much into the pit lane. Were you worried about your tyres towards the end of the race?
Yeah, but I did tell Macho that we were talking in the party, and I said that I'm gonna gamble this and pretty much go to the end on those, but then Bulow decided to go into AI going into cops, and me and Mr. H both had to go back in for a wing change and then charge from the literal back of the field to where we finished it. So we pretty much had like extra lap of tire wear to play with in the end.
Yeah, which I think was a bit of a godsend, really, I think, in terms of some of the tyre wear. Of course, Papine picking up a puncture, Chippy picking up a puncture there as well. Must have felt good, obviously, coming through the field to finish there in 5th, and obviously finishing ahead of Macho, finishing ahead of both Ferraris as well, in terms of the championship for constructors, I think, is very good to look at going forward as well. Michael, any questions?
I just want to congratulations on staying out in the mediums. Obviously took that gamble, because if you pitted again you'd probably be outside the top 10 I believe, so well done for that. Did you feel confident on the setup side of things, because obviously on board with you in qualifying, looked a bit shaky in qualifying, so did you think you went for the right setup going into the race, because you did seem like you did have a quiet race, especially towards the end there?
It was a bit understeer at times, and then at certain points it felt a really oversteer, so it was not probably well balanced, all things considered, but it got me where I am, so I pretty much can't be nothing else than happy.
Yeah, and I really hope you are happy. 5th place gives more points for Alfa Romeo as well, so congratulations on that. And obviously we're off to Monaco next week. Hopefully there won't be more drama like there was today with tyre-wise anyway. Do you think you're going to go for it in Monaco next week, probably get a podium, maybe a race win also?
Well, a win is a bit far out of reach in my eyes, but just hoping to pretty much keep it out of the barriers and do as good of a job as I can and hopefully score some great points.
Monaco, anything can happen, especially if there's weather involved. Anything can definitely happen. Last place could win it easy, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But hopefully, you will take some positive into Monaco, and you will come out in the top 5 at least, finishing hopefully for a podium.
That's the aim.
Yeah, and with that, go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks.
You are very welcome indeed. I now have to look at the list once again. And now I have to go back on the stream once again because I've lost my list. So I need to go back and see. Let's have a look. It is not. I believe it is Macho next. The man who finished in the end in P6. And Macho, talk us through what on earth happened with the strategy under that safety car.
Yeah, it's I don't know, kind of annoying to say the least, because it's the third Britain race in a row where I was leading and comfortably on for a win, and then like the safety car is there, and that's 3 times in a row now that I am like the first car that has to decide. And I think I saw a glimpse of yesterday that someone got a puncture on like 18 lap old hards. And obviously when the safety car came out, I was just miscalculating, because I was thinking like 18 laps on mediums like was not gonna work out. So I stayed out, and yeah, obviously everyone went in, and then the safety car stayed out too long, because it was for how long did it stay out? 3-4 laps?
Yeah.
So they had to do like 13-14 laps. So at that point I already knew it was like probably gonna go like be very tight for them all, because I was calculating like approximately 5 to 6% a lap, so that would bring them to high 80. Yeah, then I could stay with some of the guys on the hards, but yeah, I had to pit. So at one point I was thinking, yeah, when do I pit? Is there gonna be a safety car? What is the strategy here? Went for mediums, and I think that was a very good recovery, to be honest, because I think I was 2 seconds lap faster than like the whole I on those mediums I didn't do a single lap slower than what everyone has done, like compared to their best time. So the pace was incredible, but yeah, just wrong strategy call again.
Yeah, wrong strategy call, and to be honest, I think a missed opportunity there in Britain. We know it's one of your favourite tracks, and we know you've got the pace around here as well. And I think that is, as I say, a missed opportunity, and it could be one of those races where you just look at and think, that could have cost me the championship in the long run, but don't worry about that, because there's still more than half the season to go. And obviously you came through the field to finish in the end in P6, and I think considering you were P13, P12 battling out with Bobby for most the race after the safety car, I think a P6 finish is not too bad given the circumstances.
No, it's absolutely not too bad. Obviously, like when you see how long the pit lane is as well, at one point I was driving on the hards behind the safety car and I was rethinking, like, the pit lane is, how long is it, like 30 seconds? And it was just, yeah, it was just stupid to stay out in the end. But I don't know, if I see people doing like having 85% tire wear, and I know myself, I don't know, with my driving style I have a lot of tire wear, like compared to Messina, like some races I have 5 to 10% more, I swear it out, like. So in the end I'm kind of like happy. It wasn't gonna work out for me anyway. I am 100% sure there was gonna be puncture for me, but yeah, like, well, you said actually this is my favorite track. It is probably my most hated track. I'm just quick around it, but yeah, I don't know, it's costly, it's very costly. It's like, what, 18 points? I have no clue, but P6 is 8. Oh no, actually fast lap is 9, so
17 points, I think.
25. 17 points, and there was a 5-point gap, so it's 22. I mean, 3 race wins and it's done again, so everything can happen.
Yeah, you never know. Name Changer might finish 7th next week. You might take the race win by about 20 seconds in Monaco, and then all hell will break loose, and you'll be back even once again in terms of the championship. And that is how quick championship can change. So I think long run, definitely focus ahead, because Monaco, I know, is going to be a real tough struggle for every single driver, including yourself, next week as well. Michael, any questions?
Yeah, obviously you said you would probably be in a lost situation anyway, even if you did make that pit stop in the safety car. You said you'd probably get a puncture either way. You felt confident about that. So did you not felt like it would be taking a risk of pitting on the last safety car before the lap before the safety car came in and start from the back? And
Yeah.
you might be at the back, but at least you have fresh tyres than anyone else ahead.
Well, the thing is, that was what I was thinking. Like, I was in a party with Zero, and Zero obviously got damaged because of, well, I don't know, Bolo or something. So there was 2 cars far away, and then them two pitted. And at that point, I was thinking, should I pit because I'm gonna be P9 then? But then I still had to take those mediums 16 laps, and in the end, they ended with 80%. And yeah, believe it or not, but my tire wear is always crazy. Like I don't know, I have some weird ass like driving style. It just eats up the tires, and yeah, I don't know. And to come back to what James said again, next week Monaco, I don't know. It's like I think I've had like 3 or 4 races this game on Monaco. Every time I've driven against Name Changer, and every time it's been us two either fighting for the win or like I don't know, well, somewhere close, like enough to the win. And honestly, if he finishes P7, I'll go to change my name to fucking Ben or something, because that's not gonna happen. No way. But yeah.
Well, congratulations on your P6. I think it is the best way you can do. Compared to yesterday, that people were struggling to get points after their very late pit stop. So I think you did a remarkable job to recover into a solid points position. So hopefully there won't be any more bad luck going towards you, heading towards Monaco next week, and hopefully you will get a win that you do truly deserve.
Well, thank you, and thanks for calls.
You are very
No worries.
welcome indeed. I'll finish off by that and saying we know Macho is a very capable driver, and hopefully that capability will be shown, because I know he's got a lot of potential here in FRL F1, and I know how good he can be. He just needs to realise that potential. And I'll finish off with those very kind words towards Macho, judging by how I absolutely ratified him last season in Circuit of the Americans. So I'm trying to make up for that, but we will move on to the next man, who of course is here, and I believe it is Mr. FRL Charlie, who has been practicing so much on Gran Turismo. He got himself a P7 finish here tonight. Charlie, how did the race go for you?
Like, I don't know if I say it went good or bad, because I definitely went with the right strategy call going to the hards for the end, because they definitely had more grip for the last few laps compared to Bunty and everyone else. But just one too many penalties. This is another track I struggle with the track limits at, so it wasn't very easy. But I was a bit more annoyed that I even lost out the Macho, considering he was still very far behind, and the gap was I think like 7.5 seconds, and I had 9-second penalties. So if I just minimised the penalties, then I definitely could have had probably a top 5 finish, which is a bit frustrating, but can't complain that much considering I started at the back and I still stay 4th in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, and you do still stay 4th, I think, in the championship, even though Bunty, I think, was behind you going into tonight's racing. Talk us through the safety car, because the safety car, I think, was a pretty much given, I think, for drivers to come in from a set of hards to a set of mediums. And same question that I asked to Zero there. Did you feel that you were going to get to the end on those tyres? Because we saw with Papine and Chippy at the end, they didn't manage their tyre well, really, at all, towards the end of the race.
Well, whilst we were under the safety car, once I saw that we actually had to stay under safety car a few extra laps, I was beginning to question myself if going to the hards was actually a good idea, but then thankfully it actually did pay off. So yeah, I was definitely worried that I definitely didn't think that the mediums wouldn't get to the end. But I won't lie, my hards almost were above 70% because I was pushing quite a lot just to stay with them all. So either way, I was at risk of getting punctures.
Yeah, and overall, as you mentioned there, you weren't at risk of really getting punctures, and with that really good tyre wear saving, I think got you that P7 at the end of the day in that race as well. And same question as I asked to Bunty there as well. Now that you are pretty much high in the championship, 4th, 5th position, I think, going into next week at Monaco, how do you approach the rest of the season? obviously you've just got Gran Turismo, so I don't think there's going to be much practice put in compared to what there should be. But how do you approach the rest of the season now? Are there any other tracks that you like going forward?
I feel like the only track I'm looking forward to, I'm just trying to get the calendar off so I could get in my phone. I feel like the only tracks I'm looking forward to really is probably Monza and Portugal. But Monaco definitely next week. I had good pace there last season. I think I got 6th or 7th in the end there, even though it could have definitely have been higher. But I definitely think my pace has improved around at Monaco because street circuits are honestly my favourite tracks, to be honest. Like in Baku a few weeks ago, I managed to finish podium on track, and obviously that was unfortunately taken away by a certain someone. Not going to point fingers, but yeah, I think Monaco can definitely go well. I think that the target for the rest of the season is to try and get a podium, but considering I've got GCSEs coming up, I might drop out with a few races to go, since I want to also focus on that.
Yeah, GCSEs I think are a big important thing. Obviously, I know I did my GCSEs nearly 10 years ago now. That is how old I am, and I can say honestly that physicality, because I was league racing around then as well, back in 2014, and it doesn't get any easier. So I think backing out probably the best thing to do, just for your benefit, I think, mentally, and for the league's benefit. Well, not for the league's benefit because we get to lose you, obviously, but I think for the league's benefit, it will be a much harder place without you. But obviously, exams and life at the end of the day is way more important than a sim racing game, albeit a very crappy sim racing game as well. Michael, any questions?
Sorry, I just had my phone.
I knew that was you.
Well done for the race results. I think you were hoping for a little bit more carnage at the front, but the safety car did stay out for a little bit longer than last night, so it was a little bit touch and go if you're going to make up positions or not, but I'm pretty sure you're reasonably happy with the result you got, especially like you just said, last season you didn't really have the best of seasons, especially at the start of last season. I think you get a few retirements, and now you're up there in the top 5 in the championship. So is it just basically, I'm asking, is it just a clear head for this season, and basically just mainly having some fun as well, since you said you're not going to be here for the last few races?
It was the end of the last season. I was getting a lot of DNS after Hawk had left as my teammate, but I mean, the first rounds that we've had are tracks that I ratherly enjoy, apart from France and Austria. But I think going into the next race it will probably be a bit more difficult because it's tracks that I'm not as quick as. But yeah, I'm just open to keep up my point streaks and to maybe make it a good final season, because this could possibly be my last, and then I might return after a season or two. But yeah, it's still going pretty well though.
Well, hopefully it will continue your top 5 positions, and hopefully still sniffing the podium as you have been today, despite the penalties. But you still did a phenomenal race, and it did pull off for you at the end, especially Bunty's pace dropped at the end, and a few others as well, so it definitely was the right call on the hards you choose. But yeah, congratulations on your 7th place, or P6, sorry.
No, 7th, you're right.
7th, oh, right, there you go, sorry, I was trying to be nice, but thanks James for correcting that. But yeah, but well done for that, and hopefully you will take that into Monaco. Are you hoping for a simple race in Monaco, or are you hoping for mixed weather conditions?
Honestly, I hope it rains at Monaco. Monaco, when it rains, I'm honestly quick at. I find it comfortable in the rain on that track for some odd reason, because on every other track I'm horrendous at. But as long as it's just not chaotic, like it was last season for me as I got put in the wall, then I can definitely, hopefully, keep my top 7 position streak like I've kept on doing since the start. But yeah, hopefully it rains heavily next week.
Right, there you go. James?
That is all for me as well. Go and enjoy your evening, Charlie.
Yeah, and thank you too for commenting, especially Michael for doing last night and tonight.
Yeah,
The
it's
ultimate
okay.
goat. The ultimate goat.
If I do come back next week, I will mention Posh Boy for you to make it more interesting for you.
Don't worry, I threw a sly comment in a little bit earlier on, so it's already been said.
Thank you very much.
Even I
And Alicia's definitely getting a very bad message, I think, coming after this stream as well, from what was said a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, Michael, go tell Alicia to have one.
Oh God, I don't want to see any pictures. It's not even 9 o'clock, and we're not even beyond the watershed yet.
No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like
that. That, Michael.
Terrible.
Anyway, back to the interviews. Last one of the night.
One more man to go, and he's been waiting very patiently, bless him. It is Mr. Pelly, and Pelly, in the end, P what? I need to get this up. I need to remember where you finished. I believe it was P10. You did pick up that final point scoring position. First of all, though, talk us through that battle with that Red Bull, with, I think it was CPI Chippy, because that battle looked absolutely insane from what we were watching.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I knew I wasn't too bad on straight. Just a shame I used like a lot of airbrush to try to overtake Bobby, but which I didn't even need the C-spawn. So I was really on a back foot after that. And with that airbrush, it's like I was more or less a city duck. And I just tried to hold proper position where I could. Shame the battle ended because I spawned. Then lost corner twice. But yeah, it was fun. I guess it was fair. At least I tried to leave a lot of space where I could.
Yeah, you left a lot of space, and as I say, that battle I think was absolutely fantastic. I was literally willing you on, I think, in the commentary box as well, because I know how you've gone around this track in the past, and you've had very good results around here in the past. So for me to see you battling, I think was absolutely brilliant. Talk us through that safety car as well, because the safety car put you, I think, further down the field. You were just outside of the points, if I'm not mistaken. Did that safety car help or hinder you in terms of your race?
It all helped me because on lap 2 I spun and I had the wall and I had to do a whole lap with that front wing. So I was I was at least at the back maybe more than half a lap behind the guys. Like me and Bobby were like half a lap behind F1. So it definitely helped me to at least get back to the fight. And just a shame I got I spat in the pits. I got a 5-second penalty. But yeah, the safety car literally it helped me. Otherwise, I think I would have been on my own the whole race.
Yeah, and luckily you weren't. You had still good battles further down the field as well. And obviously, going forward into next week, I'm going to steal Michael's question here if he doesn't mind. It's Monaco next week. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Is it a track where you just want to survive at?
Yeah, as I'm controller player, so it never really has been a good track for me. It's always been about surviving. And that's the only thing I can do, just try to race and keep out of the wall and hope that the rest are gonna mess up so I can gain positions there, because on speed only I won't be able to do something. I think I will be somewhere at the back, because there are a lot of wheel drivers around here in F1, so they should be faster than me. And so I just, that's the only thing I can do, just keep it clean and hope that the rest mess up so I can gain positions there that way.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. If we have Ball Boy back in the lobby, then he might cause all sorts of carnage. You might end up winning the race. Who knows what might happen in Monaco?
I wouldn't disagree with it.
Honestly, it's one of those tracks where I think people, I think for the historic factor, I think people love for that, but to drive on the track, and if you get caught on the Nivelle chicane, you are absolutely done for in Monaco, so drivers have got to be aware of that.
I think if you drive on a wheel, it's like it's enjoyable. I think I never drove on a wheel, so I don't know how it is on a wheel. I imagine it's like nice to drive, but on a Kotoda it's like not like qualifying is like you can like I can do maybe one lap, but do like how many laps are they? Like 39.
Yeah.
Like that's on the Kotoda it's like hard.
Yeah. It'll be pain. It will be pain next week, quite literally. But Monaco is the challenge for everyone. Everyone's going to be in the same boat, and hopefully, I don't think it's going to be race of the season, but hopefully we do get some clean battles, some good racing, and maybe even an outside overtake around the outside of Casino Square would be very nice from somebody, I think, there in Monaco. Pelly, though, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Thanks for commentating.
You are very welcome indeed, and that rounds us up very neatly indeed. We have now gone past the watershed, which is why I'm now ending off the stream before everything that begins to kick off here in the party. But a big thank you, of course, to Mr. Michael F1, the ultimate GOAT, I think, of this week for FRL, filling in calls for F2 alongside Charlie last night, and indeed for F1 tonight alongside myself. Thank you so much for being alongside me. It has been a fun race, and with Monaco to come next week, I hope to God that you're not back next week, because I don't know what to expect.
Well, no one heard what I did earlier in the stream, because obviously I was muted and it didn't go as well. But yeah, it's been a pleasure being alongside you for F1, and hopefully it won't be the last, but we have to wait and see. But I really enjoyed it either way, and bring on F2. Obviously F2 is at Monday night, 7 o'clock PM GB time, and I hope you'll be there for very, very tough and hard action around Monaco Grand Prix. Fingers crossed we have a good one.
Yeah, and with that as well, FRL F1, which should be back, I believe, if Ivor was back from holiday, it should be back on OBS, it should be back to the graphics and everything, and it will be back, of course, at 7 PM UK time on Tuesday, if you do want to tune in for that as well. A big shout out as well to the F1 Esports Challengers guys tomorrow on PlayStation, so if you do want to watch that, I know that is live tomorrow night. I know I'm going to be watching that in the comment section tomorrow night as well, so good luck to the likes of Jensen, the likes of Tom, who are going to be racing. I believe Keki might be in the lineup as well, so all of those guys getting to show what they're made of, and hopefully get some big pro exhibition seats going forward, and hopefully get a seat with one of the real life esports teams. Brilliant to watch. I think most of the guys I've commentated on in the past year, and honestly they are a great bunch of lads, even better racers. Hopefully they provide the action, because I believe it is at Australia round 2 of the championship tomorrow night, if you do want to watch that. PC as well is also on Thursday, if you do want to catch that as well. But we are going to end it off here. I'm a Celebrity is just starting here in the UK, so I'm going to go off and watch that, which is unbelievable, because I'm saying that in April and I normally say that in like November, December time, but there we are. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you did like the stream, like, comment, subscribe, tick the notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. If you didn't like the stream, you can dislike it, but it won't show on our graphics and it won't show on our things, so it's pointless really if you dislike the stream. You may as well like it and enjoy some good commentary to boot as well. But we will end it off here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.